You're listening to the Comic Crusaders podcast. I am your host, Al Mega, CEO of Comic Crusaders and Undercover Capes. In this show, I'm sitting down with creators from all walks of life to talk about inspiration, process, the lessons they've learned, and a whole lot more.
Well, what I mean, this is your boy, I'm Mega. Welcome to a brand new Comic Crusaders podcast. And today, you know what it is? We're gonna be talking about some indie comics, some dope indie comics at that, from a power couple. That's right, baby. Today we are chatting with the founders of Midnight Comics, Atlanta's pioneering Black family-owned, baby, comic book company. Let me introduce this power couple right here on the scene and learn about the Jones verse, baby. The ones, the only Lloyd and Natosha Jones. Welcome to the show, kiddos. How you doing?
Hey, pretty good. Thank you for that intro. I loved every minute. Yo, thank you. But now all is well.
Y'all ready to go up those stairs like Rocky did, right? And just go boom, boom, let's go. Because you are champs in the game. You know, y'all jumping into the independent comic book universe, which of course, you know what I mean, it's not an easy task, but it's entrepreneurs. And as a couple, y'all doing this and creating some dopeness. Thank you for sending me over the Tales of the Midnight #1. I gotta check that out and be introduced slightly to a lot of the characters. I was like, all right, this is cool, yo. I mean, some great tales. It's a great story. You know, nothing in your face. It's just story, and these are the characters, and that's it. This is what it is, and I love that from it. You know, you're not pushing on narratives. This is like a fact of this is the universe. You know, so and I like that. So you know, I need to learn now about your geekiness, then your journey, the romance, and the universe, the empire building here. So let's start with the lady of the house, Natosha. Let us know where you from, OG, and what was the first thing in fandom that you ever fell in love with?
Well, initially, I was born in Long Island. I was born in
New York, girl. Long Island in the house.
Yep, I was born in Belport Hospital, until my parents moved us to Atlanta because it was cheaper.
I don't blame them. Get out of New York, it is pricey. I don't blame them.
Yeah, but yeah. No, the first nerdy thing I ever fell in love with was X-Men. My dad and I used to get up and watch Saturday morning cartoons.
Oh,
and
cool.
I immediately fell in love with X-Men above all else. I mean, I love all the rest of it, but X-Men has always been my #1. So when I finally got into reading comics, that's where I wanted to start. And then, of course, I was raised on video games and stuff, and I got myself into like anime and manga because my dad wasn't with all that.
Yeah. So when you say, you know, you found X-Men in a comic, did you find that on your own, or did somebody give you an X-Men comic one day like, yo, it's more than a cartoon?
No, on my own. My dad didn't have any of his comic books anymore by the time we were born. He had gotten rid of or lost all of them. So I had to build my comic book collection from the ground up.
And actually, Natosha is not lost. Mama threw them out.
You know, knowing my grandmother, my dad's side of the family is also Caribbean. So my grandmother is from Antigua. My grandfather is from Barbados. And knowing my grandmother, that's not impossible.
I'm Puerto Rican, I'm Caribbean, and Mama got rid of stuff that I tell her now. I show her pictures. I said, Ma, you remember this? She goes, no, why are you asking me that? Like, because you threw this out. Thank you. I try to make her feel guilty. I love you, Mom, but thank you for throwing out everything that has some value right now. You know what I mean? All right, Lloyd, how about you? Talk to me about where you OG from and your first piece of geekdom love.
So I'm originally from Oahu, Hawaii. And
oh shit, my first Hawaiian OG from. Get out of here.
And the first bit of content, it would have to be Batman the Animated Series. Was the first thing.
Hawaii. Yeah, wait, I'm like really fucked up right now. OG Hawaii, homegirl from Long Island and on ATL, and you're like all the way. I mean, in the West, baby. shit.
He's like, how?
I cannot wait to hear about how you guys met. This is going to be interesting. But anyway, before we get into that, all right. So Batman animated series in Hawaii. So you grew up in Hawaii, you at a younger age.
Kentucky. I'm an Army brat. So after Hawaii, we lived in Kentucky, and that's when the show came out, like '92, and I got hooked at that moment. My dad still had his comic book collection though, so once I faced a real love for it, and once he trusted me with being able to read the comic books without ripping them, I got to know. And then when he went to the comic book store, I'd be able to pick something out for myself as well.
Now you need to know, at what age did your father feel comfortable with you putting your fingerprints on his comic books?
6. So not until we moved again. But he would buy duplicates. At one point, he was buying duplicates, so I would get what he would have, what I'd be able to. But it was still his, so he would still take them back. But then it'd be like, hey, you can have your own, pick something else, but this is your designated one right here. Don't go in my box stuff. So
I feel you, and that was his reader copy when he wanted to keep his man.
No, we still can't go in the box. We can look at them. We can't touch them.
Oh, really? I mean, I gotta get it. My daughter could, she not that she would be interested, but if she wanted to, she could look at the covers.
Do not take them out of the package.
I got digital copies if you want to see the insides. Don't you worry. I one of those. I'll be fucking with my shit now. All right. So, back to the lady of the casa. So, talk to me. Did you grow up with a nerdy tribe too, or were you a lone wolf in all this? And how did you even navigate your journey in your geekdom, if you will?
I grew up in a house of gamers. That's as nerdy as it got. My dad, my brother, and I, we all played video games together. So the way they went to the comic book shop, we would go to Blockbuster. And I guess y'all did that too. But
yeah. I still got my Blockbuster card, by the way. So I still got it around there.
It's in his old wallet.
Yep.
He's waiting for the day to reopen.
One day.
Hopefully. Probably not. But yeah, every weekend we would go to Blockbuster. My mom would rent a movie because she wasn't really into video games like that. And then we would rent like 2 to 3 video games for the week. And that's how I got introduced to Tekken. Tekken is my favorite fighting game. And I was
none of us should ever challenge Natasha in Tekken. Okay, check.
At least not the older ones.
Okay.
7, I kind of lost it. But video game house was my house. The TV shows was really the only connection my dad and I had when it came to nerddom. Everything else, I had to find out other avenues on my own. Getting comics, learning about characters, all of that stuff. I made friends who were also nerds and were able to introduce me to their collection so I could look through at the time. Got a job when I was older, was able to have my own stuff, YouTube, all that good stuff is really how I got into it.
I want to know though, because my family and I, when I was a kid, and I'm older than you, of course, there was times when we would pull out the Atari and the bowling game. My parents and I would game for a minute on the bowling, and my father would kick our ass. He claimed he didn't like video games, and yet this one game, for some odd reason, he would beat our ass. I would get so mad. How the fuck does somebody that's not like games keeps beating me at a game that he don't like? So what games did you play? What was the game of the house? What was the one that you and your dad was like blood cold enemies at?
We're really big fighting. My father and I really big fighting game people. Right. My brother's was more sports games growing up.
All right.
Mortal Kombat. We could not beat him. He knew all the fatalities. He knew stage fatalities, everything, and he would not teach us how to do them at all. We were like, "How you do that?" Can't tell you. Can't tell you. You got to figure it out. And of course, age. This is before we had internet tutorials and stuff to tell us how to do all the moves you don't know how to do. Just look up a YouTube video. You couldn't do that. You had to figure it out on your own.
One day, Natasha I see this now. One day, that's my dude too, Baraka. I will fuck you up with Baraka. But one day I see this now, Natasha, the study she found on the internet and Google. And one day she came in with a sweatband, a sweatshirt. She's like, Dad, let's hang out for a minute.
Nah.
Tell me you did that, Natasha. No?
By the time that was really accessible, he wasn't really playing games like that anymore.
He had an excuse.
To this day, we've never beaten him in Mortal Kombat 2. Ever.
Okay.
I was able to come back and get him at Madden in my older years. I
only got into Madden recently, to be honest. I was on a vacation in Florida, started playing, and I was pretty nice in it. I said, oh shit, how am I a natural? Even my friends were like, yo, play this before. I'm like, no. They're like, damn, you bastard. Yes.
I fell off sports games in 2004. It was the last time we ever had a sports game. Except wrestling. I think our last wrestling game was 06.
Oh, wrestling, my favorite ever. WCW versus NWO for N64. Let's go.
Okay.
Yeah, let's go. Okay. Lloyd, let's go. You want to play? No, we start. So talk to me about your wolf pack, if any. Were you alone? Since you were an army man, no click, right? Obviously,
no, we are all very competitive. My parents both played video games heavy. Pac-Man, I've never to this day beaten my mother at Pac-Man.
I still need your mother and my father to go against each other at
Pac-Man. I seen them just go at it, and just like, dang, like I didn't even know there were these levels on this game. Like they were just going. So, the game, if there was a game me and my mom really went in at, was NBA Street Volume 2. Oh my gosh, she took off on that game. Me and my dad, we did more co-op. So me and him would be like the Ghost Recon. There's an older game called Conflict. There was 4 games in that series that we would play pretty heavy. Okay. Eventually playing like Army 2 and stuff like that. But the family game, one of the family games, Time Crisis. We got a hold of that in the household. It was a wrap. Yeah, so.
Y'all killing me. Outside of bowling from Atari, one of the family games was Trouble. You remember with the bubble in you?
Yeah.
We're board gamers.
Old board gamers, man. That is some bingo for pennies. You know what I mean?
We got board games too.
Monopoly was the name of the game for sure. Nobody plays Monopoly with me anymore.
Nobody plays Monopoly.
Oh, no. He said that with you. What you did, bro?
Nobody in his family, nobody in my family will play Monopoly with. Like, we grew up playing Monopoly every summer over summer vacation when we go to Florida. Nobody, we have all stopped playing. Nobody wants to play with him.
Did you ever get the chance to see or get when Urban Outfitters put out a version of Monopoly called Ghettopoly?
No.
Oh boy.
I need that. I will find it.
I'm gonna search now because we have a Monopoly collection. We have 11
no, we have more than that.
Different versions of Monopoly in the house.
I'm thinking this. Look at that. You guys gamers to the core. Look up Ghettopoly. It was something that was actually pulled off of shows because it was deemed to be racial.
Oh, I see. Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, Ghettopoly. I mean, what do you think they're doing? You know what I mean? It's like, like they slumlord type of gaming, like on some
I see
a fucked up mafia type gaming level where you're dealing drugs. You know, remember those phone games? I used to be nice at those too. I was making bank anyway.
She found it.
$109.
$109, but she found it.
There you go. Look at this. Natasha ain't playing, yo.
Amazon is my
now I see why you got it together. Like she don't play, but all right, let's get it done. All right. So back to that. So no wolf pack, all right, or nothing growing up because you're an army brat, right?
Oh yeah.
That sucks. So was there ever a point in your time, Lloyd, that you found, a wolf pack or was it Natasha that became, your Queen Wolfie? And that happened.
So by the time we got to high school, we were in the same group
of friends.
The same group of friends in high school. Prior to that, I had some neighbors. My best friend lived next door to me, and I had my little group at that point when we finally moved to Georgia. But prior to that, not really. So yeah.
Okay.
I think you still had friends growing up than me before we got to high school, though. I had a group of like 3 people.
Fair enough.
That's it.
Yeah, 3. Hey man, listen, you keep your circle small, and so long as they're good people, that's what matters the most. You know what I mean? I always small too. So with that, all right, I'll stay on you, Lloyd, for that moment. So when did you start getting creative? What was the point? What happened in your life that you say, "Oh, I wanna do something"?
So Star Fox 64.
Oh, I love that fucking. Yes. Oh, you are my people.
Yes,
yeah, I played that shit 3 times over just to be there.
Oh man,
the way I could, like I love that shit.
Look, I got to the point where I was trying to speed run that game. Like that's
no cheats.
My people. Oh shit. Yeah.
So between that and Metal Gear Solid, those 2 games I was like, I got to become a game designer. I gotta do something. And at this point, I had started drawing. I still have my old sketchbooks from when I was like 10 at this point as well. Just, at this point, anime had become prevalent and stuff like that. And it's just like, all right, so that's when the creative process started between Star Fox, Metal Gear, 97, 98, and then started drawing heavy in 2000. So that's when the journey began.
And what about you, Natasha? When did your creative spark, if you will, started get going?
I was always a very imaginative and strange child. So I started writing stuff in like elementary school. I started writing stuff. When I hit middle school, I was introduced to theater.
Okay. I
joined theater club, and it took off from there. I wanted to be an actress. Well, I am for the most part. I did theater club in middle school. I joined theater class in high school. I did advanced theater my senior year, and I went to school for theater education. So that was my whole thing was that. But I was still, writing and stuff. So yeah, that really when I got really heavy into theater, that's when I was like, I either want to be an actress or a writer.
All right.
Both.
So, yes, now I do both. Thank you.
Doing both, but what's most important right now? Hey, I don't want to put you on the spot either. I've seen that look before. Like, you motherfucker, how dare you?
No, acting is still my first love, and it is something that I do.
Nice. So, were you affected by the recent strike, or are you doing this?
I'm not a member of the union, so not yet. Not yet. I am very close to eligibility. It's just expensive.
Really? I know these unions be costing, but again, hopefully the level of access you'll be able to get and more work and joining the right people. I mean, fuck yeah, because when you want to get into, you say acting, but your skill level too. I read one in your books, homegirl. Don't be just talking about your acting skills. You're obviously a very talented writer and creator as well, which we're going to get into in a second. Right? So, all right. So, you say you're an actor, but when did you get into the writing side? Like, where did that come from, and those type of narratives? When did that happen?
No, writing actually came first. I started writing poetry in 3rd grade.
Damn.
After, my Nana died, my great grandmother, and I started writing like short stories and stuff by like 5th grade. I always had A's in English class. My ex-best friend and I had started writing like a novel together that we never finished. And that was always my issue with writing stories, is I would start these novels and I would never finish them.
Okay.
So when we started writing comics, hopefully that kind of went to a path where they will be finished. Everything's outlined, so there's no reason they won't get finished.
Absolutely. All right. Now we got to get into the story. I'm gonna ask Lloyd first, and then I'll get the truth from Natasha. So talk to me how you guys met.
So we met in high school. I'll give the concise version.
Let's pop in, homie.
Okay, so we met in high school. I had a huge crush on her. But
talk to me. Wait. You're going too fast. Talk to me. All right. So you had a huge crush on her in high school. You met. What circled in this, and what was it about Natasha that lit you on fire, homie?
What's
the points right now? We have a great night tonight. Come on.
Oh yeah. So first off, oh my gosh. And then, again, that same kind of group circle, she's talking about the anime. We're talking about comic books. We're talking about all the same stuff. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. You know what I mean? Like she ain't phony with it. Like, this is okay.
Shit, wait a minute. Hey, love it.
Yeah, but I was very shy and quiet back in the day. I was not as talkative as I am now. So I didn't speak up, and she had a boyfriend. So that was the thing throughout all of high school. I never got to shoot my shot. I never got to shoot my shot the entire high school career, but we had the same friend circle, so we still got to get to know each other, which was pretty cool. But it wasn't until years later we run into each other at the mall, and I had my chance at redemption. So,
all right, wait, you stop right there. All right, Natosha.
No, he has to give the next part about him asking for my number though, because that's the lie he always tells.
Really?
I asked for her number. She said no, but then you asked for my number instead.
You exaggerate it usually, but okay.
Okay, come on, I'll try to.
He's on air. He goes, let me not bullshit while I'm on air over here.
Am I right? Not live. Like, we can't edit this now. Come on.
Right, is that how you remember Natosha for real? Did you remember him in high school? Did you even notice he had a crush on you?
We used to talk all the time. I didn't know he had a crush on me, but we used to talk all the time. There was a website. I don't know if anybody remembers this website. It was called Gaia Online.
Gaia.
Yeah, it's this little website, and you have like this
little avatars.
Avatar. You go around and like it was MySpace before MySpace, but actually a little
about the same time. Actually,
it was the same.
Holy shit, MySpace. My aging ourselves. That you guys are not gay though. There we go.
But they had a DM feature, and we were all friends on it, and so me and him used to like message all the time on there and talk about stuff. Okay. That we didn't talk about with like the rest of the group, just if we need somebody to talk to. So like it's pretty cool.
You can't talk to the cool kids about this shit because this is too nerdy for them to understand. I was in that generation. Let me tell you, I grew up in Brooklyn, and I had to be a thug. I was a gang member. I was all this shit. But then I fucking home, I'm motherfucking reading comic books and watching cartoons and shit, waking up at 6 a.m. on Saturdays.
Ready to go.
Oh, I'm a gangbanger. Let's go, baby. I love it.
Yeah, no, people thought we were weird. But yeah, no, we communicate on there pretty frequently, even after I graduated for just a little while, because I graduated first. I'm older than him. And so then everybody kind of left Guy for a little while. And then we ran into each other twice, both times at the mall. Once I was with a friend of mine who was a male friend, who is like a little brother to me. And he didn't approach me. Right. He thought he was my boyfriend.
He assumed immediately. He was like, shit, I missed my shot. Yes,
because we always were hanging out. Like, that was the only friend I really kind of had in the area at the time. So we were always hanging out. So he thought we were dating. So we still all talked because we all knew each other, but that was that. Yeah. Next time I was with my girlfriend from college, that was the time he asked for the number. And I was like, well, let me get your number instead. And then I messaged him the next day. I said hi because I know who he was. I mean, he's always been a cool guy.
That's nice.
And he messaged me back a year later.
It wasn't a year.
Wait, I'll be honest though, Natosha. First of all, that if you would have asked me for my number instead, even though I asked, I would be like, she's never gonna fucking hit me up. This is bullshit.
I texted.
My hopes would have been crushed right there. All right, so be honest. Was it a year later? Did you wait that long, homie? For real?
No.
You're right. It was probably like 6 months, and you responded because
shit,
you again because I was selling a camera that I had, and I had reached out to multiple people, and you were one of those people.
Okay,
that's me back.
That is closer to the truth. Let's do it.
And look at now, you guys are together building an empire. That is
still have that camera.
And you still have that dang camera.
I sure do.
And you still haven't sold it?
No, he didn't buy it. We talked for weeks and then went out on a date.
And now instead of selling it, you guys are using it right now for this video.
It's in a box somewhere.
You had me look up for a second, like, wait a second.
He started checking. He said, wait a minute, is it? Love it. All right, guys, let's get into this, baby. You know, I love the origin story. I love the power couple stuff. Y'all getting together, and now we need to know, how'd you guys get together to build what you guys are building in Midnight Comics? So here's the website too, folks. Look at these characters here. We're going to get into a whole bunch of this. I have a trailer too. You know, right after you answer that question, I'm playing the trailer. All right?
Okay.
All right. So I need to know, how did you guys even talk about, when did this discussion even happen about, let's do something?
Okay. 4 years ago, after Naruto had ended, we read the manga, so we kind of had already known the ending and stuff. We started theorizing on what really happened and also why we didn't like how it ended. So I guess we always say spoilers for the end of Naruto Shippuden if somehow you haven't seen it and care.
Right.
Of course, you know, Madara gets taken out, Kaguya comes up, fight, blah, 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 they defeat her. Ever since we read that in the manga, I was like, no, they should have lost. Madara should have won.
Because think about, I don't mean to interrupt you, but
I knew you were going.
So really quick with that ending, right? Like the whole point of the war was to cast a jutsu on the moon that's going to cause everybody to get exactly what they want, right? Is that not what happened moving forward in the epilogue of the series, the movies that followed, the Boruto series? Everybody got exactly what they wanted. Naruto became Hokage, Naruto and Hinata got together, Sakura got Sasuke, so on and so forth. Kakashi got closure with his friends. Like everything happened the way that they wanted.
So essentially the theory was Boruto is a fever dream.
It's a fever dream.
Everyone's in the infinite Tsukiyomi.
Boom.
And Madara did win.
And the only people that aren't affected by it.
I was mad because I didn't feel like he had the balls to let the good guys lose.
Right. And so we were just like, a lot of discussion of how we would have done it better.
So
because villainy has to win sometimes. Listen, look at the reality of the world. The good guys do not win all the effing time. And as much as you want to teach moral stories, and it's wonderful to inspire. And I'm not telling you to crush people's souls, but you got to also understand that bad wins at times. And you know,
not all villains have a backstory. Right. Some even in real life, there are people who are just evil for no rhyme or reason. I was getting tired of every villain having to be this, oh, my mother treated me bad as a child and now I hate the world. Da, da, da.
Oh my God, my mother hit me with a chancla. I hate chanclas and I'm going to conspire to destroy all the chanclas in the universe.
Right. And that's why we gravitated towards Dio so much. If you watch JoJo's, like that dude just evil.
He's just evil.
He's evil.
Yeah. Listen, I don't know if you can see my cells, but all up there is nothing but cobras and dreadnoughts, Megatrons, Cobra vehicles, Skeletors, Spawn. Because Spawn, you know, he's not good nor really bad. I mean, what's your definition of evil? He take care of business. That's all.
I can't see.
If I was sitting over there, you guys would really be very happy with my collection right now. We'll be probably would have been playing. Let's do a story, yay! All right, anyway. All right. So let me show this trailer real quick, and then we're gonna dive in to what is this whole Midnight Comics universe and a whole lot more. There we go. This is Midnight Comics Phase 3. Wow, I missed 1 and 2. I can't wait to learn more. Let's go. Bring on 2024, baby. Woo! Everybody, visit the website right now, midnightcomics.org, baby. Indie comics at its best. Talk to me. Shit, I missed phase 1 and 2. We're talking about 3. Talk to me. What is the Midnight Comics universe? Who are all these amazing characters? I have a picture you sent me over here. I mean, look at this, folks. Look at that arsenal of characters, diverse, beautiful characters. So talk to me. What we got going on?
So on that first row, we've got. Oh, do you want to do the first row? Okay, on that first row, are all the characters that you get introduced to in Tales from Midnight issue 1, or at least their stories. Oh man. Oh no, that's because the picture's in the way. So of course we get the flagship character right there in the middle, Sol. He's got 2 Egyptian deities inside of him, Amun and Ra. And the long and short of it, because it kind of spoils issue 2 now, but how he receives the powers, there are some ramifications of that. The problem is he has no knowledge of how to utilize these abilities of Amun Ra through the events of issue 2. So it's kind of a story of him trying to understand who he is and the powers that he has, but also the deities that knew of Amun Ra have a problem with who is this human with a god's powers. So we kind of dive into that there. To the left and technically on the far right on that same first row, that story is called The Blue Morpho. But what we did there, we have a character called there's a character that came out in the 70s called the Butterfly. First ever African-American superheroine. That's her on the right-hand side.
Important character in the history of comics as well.
Mm-hmm. So what we wanted to do, because there's a lot of history in that, we said, you know what? Let's keep all that story intact. But let's give a reason as to why she disappeared for all of these years, right? Why did she disappear? And we continue that story. We end her story, but continue it through our own original character, her daughter, the Blue Morpho. So that's her on the left side. Say again. Oh, that's the year 2. On the far left, we have a character called the Gray. Her name's Shamika Day. She's a physicist who's managed to create artificial black holes. Her employer wants to weaponize it, unfortunately. And you talking about black holes could accidentally destroy the solar system. So she decides to become a superhero to stop her former employer. Problem is, she can't fight to save her life. So, right, like has to fight. Yeah, so she's very overzealous and can't really fight at all. And I'm gonna leave the last lady
maybe a little bit what's the word?
What's that?
Full of herself.
Yeah, a little full of herself as well. But I'm gonna leave the last character on that first row to Tasha.
Yeah, the one in the all red, that is Fatima in our story called Admani. Her story is a little different. She has the ability to wield fire. However, the story is a bit more about mental health and her day-to-day issues, dealing with depression and anxiety and anger issues, as well as trying to control those fire powers she has raging within her, because unfortunately, they're out of control, a lot like how her anger can be sometimes.
Okay.
Now, that whole second row is characters from Tales from Midnight issue 2. Well, they're from the stories that are introduced in Tales from Midnight issue 2. So starting from the left, the gentleman in the red hoodie, the Hispanic chick next to him, and the guy in the gold just above her, they're all a part of a story called The Last Day. We'll start with the gentleman on the left because he's actually in Tales from Midnight issue 2. His name's Iabani, and he's just a college student that was getting some snacks at the corner store. But then essentially a massacre takes place. And he gets caught right in the middle of that. And basically, without spoiling the issue, you get to find out what he does, how he attains this blade, essentially, and what he needs to do going forward in an attempt to get rid of it. I won't go into those other 2 characters there because that spoils that. But on
don't spoil it. Don't spoil it. That's
well, none of that. Everybody else on the right-hand side on that second row are a part of a story called Dogma.
The guy in the middle of the 2 and right up above.
And the guy with the double blades there. So essentially that is a story about 2 demon hunters that make it to the city they're supposed to be protecting a little bit too late. And so what's waiting for them is actually the demon known as Legion. And so you get to find out whether or not they have what it takes to stop Legion, or if they're going to suffer the same fate as everybody that was in that city. And there is another story that is in Tales from Midnight issue 2, and he's not on that row. However, he's all the way at the top, the Ravenmocker.
The big guy.
Yeah. So that is an entity that is Let me give you this
lore.
film. Say again? It's from indigenous lore, and essentially what's going on, the city that's in, so all these characters aren't necessarily superheroes or anything of that nature. We'll start there. What ends up happening is in this city that this is going on at, a bunch of people's bodies or a bunch of people are turning up dead, and the one thing they have in common is their hearts are missing. So everybody in that city is trying to figure out what's going on, and the question that we ask is who's going to be able to stop the Raven's Omen, which is the name of the story. And then last but not least, no, I'm missing somebody.
Should we do them below last? Because if so, there's Maya.
Oh, go into Maya.
So right there next to Double Blade guy.
Double Blade
is Maya, a story we haven't released but have been developing. She is
the first one. Yep. Yeah.
She is in a story we call Dreamweaver. And I guess we can't get too deep into what she does, but essentially she is fighting these.
Nope, can't even say it.
No, what?
Here's your only hint at that story. The only thing that we could say about this story to give you a hint as to what you're getting. Her name's Maya, which translates to illusion, and the story is called Dreamweaver. So that's all we can tell you.
Yeah.
In regards to that.
Look at you saving spoilers for
right. Yeah, right. I'm usually the Mark Ruffalo, Tom Holland. I'm like, oh, and guess what? At the end of the story,
even my team has that. We call him David Howard Nemesis, and he definitely is a nemesis to stories because he shits the bag all the time, and that he's like, you're getting yourself into trouble. I don't mean to. I'm excited.
That's it. And then the last group up at the top, starting from the left, is Izanagi and Izanami. And then on the right-hand side is Aoshima and Hiriko. They're from our manga series known as The Unbeloved, where it follows two Shinto deities, initially Izanagi and Izanami, on their quest to maintain order and structure in the shapeless chaos that is the world. So that entails them fighting various yokai, demons, and evil spirits and stuff. So we get to see them in issue 0 doing their thing in their heyday. And then we move forward into the modern day and see what the state of the world looks like and what's left to their kids, who I talked about a second ago, Aoshima and Hiriko there.
So talk to me about this whole universe. What are we getting? How many issues? What, man, look at it, folks, right here. 7 reviews, 5 stars. You get involved, midnightcomics.org, $12. Get yourself some books, folks, all right? Check out the website, but talk to me. I mean, how vast is this universe? How many titles we're talking?
Let's see. So titles-wise, you've got 4, 7, 8 titles out currently. 8 titles.
Beautiful.
Working on at least 12 right now.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. At least.
Yeah. So, yeah, lots of titles. Currently, you got Tales from Midnight 1, which introduced 4 stories. Blue Morpho, Soul, The Gray, and Edmani. Tales from Midnight issue 2, which introduced The Last Day, Raven's Omen, and Dogma. And then, of course, as I stated previously, we have The Unbeloved as its own separate thing. But what we did when we first released Tales from Midnight issue 1 is we allowed the community to decide on what story they like the most, and that would be the one that we focused on. And so at the time, Soul and The Gray were the top 2 stories. And so since then, Soul issue 2 has released earlier this year, and The Gray issue 1 officially released this year, with The Gray issue 0 being the issue that you get inside of Tales from Midnight issue 1. So at the moment as it stands, and Edmani was 3rd place. So Edmani actually dropped alongside of The Gray, which Kickstarter orders are going out for that as we speak. So those all released this year. Soul, The Gray, and Edmani all dropped. And Tales from Midnight 2 technically as well. And so we do plan on sending out, I guess, a correspondence or email blast once more to kind of re-verify the stories from Tales from Midnight issue 2, though at the moment it is looking like Ravenmocker is the top contender. Just to verify what story.
This one was Last Day.
Oh, no. It was close, though. But, yeah, I think it's the Ravenmocker because we were asking people at DreamCon as well.
Oh,
and people were like,
fair,
that's fair. But people was coming back like, hey, I need more of this Ravenmocker. So that'll probably be the top contender there. And so we'll do that story next. But all of these stories will have their own runs as well. Just which one gets the priority will be based on the community.
So, Dozo, talk to me about the importance of having, such diverse characters in your universe. I mean, is this because of your surroundings, as you growing up, or a lack of seeing it, a little bit of everything?
Yeah, it's a mixture. Mixture growing up, not really seeing a lot of us in media. We had the Static Shocks.
Amazing series, and then that.
but there wasn't a lot of it, and it definitely wasn't at the forefront.
We had Brave Star. He was Native American, so he was still brown. We kind of had something brownish.
Yeah. I grew up, Super Friends was actually the first ever superhero cartoon I ever watched.
Right. Well, and who was the homie? The
Apache Chief.
I clung to Apache Chief and Black Vulcan.
Black Vulcan.
Yeah.
Black Lightning ripoff because they couldn't get the rights to Black Lightning.
Yeah, but let me tell you, wearing a leotard just was not an appealing look for homie. You know what I mean?
It was the times. That was the style back then.
Lord.
Thankfully,
Boy, I think you need to wear a leotard as cosplay for one of the Midnight Comics cons. What do you think?
I've been hitting the gym. I'm trying to work on that. So I can't promise it'll be 2024, everybody, but 2025. Be on the lookout.
You've been working on getting to that soul shape for 2 years. You got this. I have done the gray 5 times.
Jeez.
Oh, there we go. I love it. Also, all right. So you guys cosplay as your characters. All right. Talk to me about crowdfunding. How did you even? Is this how you started your whole journey? How did you learn about crowdfunding?
No.
How did you learn to navigate it? Talk to me. How did you even start the publishing? Was it raw dog? You invested your own money?
Yeah. Yeah, we to use your word just now, we kind of raw dogged it until last year. Last year we ran
How many years of raw dogging?
2.
2.
Well,
this is year 3, so really,
but still 2 because our first Kickstarter was last year after we had already released stuff last year.
Yeah. So really 2.5 years of raw dogging, bro. Yeah.
2 years out the pocket, and then you discovered crowdfunding apparently. So talk to me.
Yeah, so we asked around a lot and tried to learn from those that came before us, right? So we had the opportunity to talk with Concrete Comics and stuff like that, and kind of asked for advice if I were to name somebody that was very prominent that really helped us out in that phase.
As far as the Kickstarter specifically, Lonzo and Jason,
yes,
gave us the most help.
One that made Lost Children Andromeda, if you're not familiar. Awesome guy. But yeah, they kind of gave us advice early on. We were, what do we need to do, right? We see people do Kickstarters with what I like to call the page and a promise, right? Nothing's done except for concept art and stuff. And we'll see that. And it's just I don't really want to do that, because anything can happen. I want to have a finished product before I say, hey, let me get your money. And so that's what really started us really just coming out of pocket, hey, let's commit to this, and we're gonna come out of pocket for these first couple projects. And so the Unbeloved 0 and 1 and Tales from Midnight 1 and Tales from Midnight 2 were all out of pocket. You know what? No, all of the Unbeloveds except for this last one truly were out of pocket.
I mean, just to give people the experience of independent creation. I mean, coming out of pocket. I mean, well, how difficult of a journey was that?
So writing wise, easy. Finding artists, that was tough. For the manga, that was easy. But really? Finding artists for
why manga easy and regular artists not? And how did you even discover how to navigate that? Because again, you guys are new in the game, so how did you even, I love learning the steps you guys take, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. So for the manga, we actually found somebody on Fiverr for the manga, and that was we found him really quick. And how to say this? It was less likely to find, because even at the time, finding artists for the comic book side would be people that was using art that didn't belong to them. And that was more prominent than the manga artists, because I'm talking about on Fiverr, because manga artists were more readily available. like actual artists. So it was very hard on Fiverr, and that was our first kind of go-to. But then of course, once we released that, and we was like, we really want to get started with Tales from Midnight, because that was the one that we wanted to come out with first. We said, okay, that's when we started reaching out to those that came before us, like, you know, where did you go? Right. And it was just like, hey, I found people on Instagram, dude. And, you know, we started reaching out to other artists that we seen work on indie products, people that were verifiable, that we could say, hey, you worked with them? Oh, okay, cool. You know, what's their time frame? What's that? So, you know, you don't have to reinvent the wheel, right? If their timing is there, like, okay, hey, I'd like to work with you. You work with them, and then other artists will start coming out of the woodwork, like, hey, I'd love to be a part of this project. You're like, okay, we'll give you a shot. Do a couple test pages, and then it just kind of keeps going from there. Like everybody, you know, it's a very big but very small, you know, space, right? So you're going to find these artists. The fact that you're looking at them, algorithms, social media, they're going to show you more artists, and it's just going to now at this point, we're readily or regularly scrolling like, oh, I don't recognize there. Reach out to them or follow them, you know, and just kind of keep up with them for potential later project and stuff like that. But to go back to the beginning, yeah, it was very difficult finding artists and stuff like that. But then the real difficult part was funding it. You know, paying for it. We got, you know, it's us, of course, but then we also got 3 kids. So it was really trying to figure out how can we pursue this and make it feasible. And that's when the idea of how Tales from Midnight was created came to be. Like, instead of, well, partially, there's a little bit more to it, but one of the things that went into that was, instead of coming out with one book, right, just one story at 20-something pages, when we have all these ideas, let's give you 4 short stories so you can get an idea of what we got to offer, right? So then when you look us up, you're like, dang, wait a second, they got the manga series, they got these 4, they got 5 stories. Who are these people? They're new, right? Mm-hmm. And then we come out with Tales from Midnight 2, and we give you 3 more stories. Boom, there's your 8 titles, right? And so you have a catalog to say, I want to see more of this, I want to see more of that. Okay, cool. You know, so
I love that take. That was kind of like what DC did back in the 70s with first issue special.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
You know, that's where we got Warlord from. That's where we got, you know, Starman from. We got a continuation of New Gods off of that. You know, OMAC was born out that motherfucker. I love first issue special. You know what I mean? And yeah, you know, letting fans kind of like, you know, let you know, hey, this is what we like. All right, bet. So let me work on what you guys want. Let me cater to the people that care about the universe. And I think that only could be done really in indie, you know, because Big Two don't give a shit about the reader at all. They're gonna just keep feeding into whatever they're working on, and you know, and we'll change the comics for the movies, and it should be the other way fucking around. So we respect the comics. How dare you? But whatever. I how do you feel about that when they start just changing the movies so much? And I can understand like alternate universe, but goddamn, sometimes like the disrespect is too much. Would you agree on that?
I guess it
really depends.
It depends. Like, I'll when movies start changing things, I think about like Dark Knight Rises, and I think about how frustrated I was on that movie. Like, the cop that was Robin, I'm like, Robin's name ain't never been Robin. His name ain't never been Robin. Why are we making this kind of change? Like, that was unnecessary.
Did you even understand Christian though?
Say again.
Did you understand Christian?
Hardly. In the first look, I think he should have kept how he did it in Batman Begins. That was the right amount of, you know, that was the right amount to the voice. But when we got to Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises, oh my gosh. I think somebody said it on the video. He sounded like he's gargling cigarettes. Like, bro, like, chill out.
I think he smoked an L, had a couple of shots of Henny, and started.
Right though, but yeah, those type of things are very frustrating. Where it's just like, dude, like you could have, like with that story, like you could have just had Azrael, John Paul Valley, I think his name is. You could have just had him be the guy.
Azrael, that would have been wild. I mean, you want to do something different in Batman movies? Bring in that motherfucker already. You already brought in Bane, so show me this.
Was that not the storyline, right? Like Nightfall, like that's pretty much what Dark Knight Rises was. But why? But they just completely gutted it, and it was just like, Okay, so it's definitely that's like my least favorite. One of my least favorite.
Since we're on this topic of film, and just different media. If this Midnight Comics universe could be anything other than a comic book, let's manifest things because energy is real, and let's verbalize these things with proper verbiage here. If this could be anything other than a comic book, that you could realize it to be, would it be an animated show, an animated film, or live action film or live action show?
We've had different ideas dependent
on the story,
which story it is.
So for Soul, animation, like a series for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But series, okay.
Yeah.
The Gray we've always seen as like a live action movie kind of thing.
A movie. All right. I love this. They already know. They're dividing. I love this. They know what they're doing. See, folks? The power of a couple here. All right, bet. So what else we got? So we have one. It'll be an animated. That you have more shows in them because again, I read this the Midnight. Yeah, tease me. You have a whole dope universe of characters here. Yeah, fucking me up.
Blue Morpho will be a live action series for sure. And I think we play with that Bonnie. We're not sure
what Bonnie. Yeah,
just yet.
Yeah.
So
those are the only ones we've really talked about because they're like the main four of all our stories.
If you were to do a series right now, do you have any live actors, actresses that you think will fit the role of any of your characters right now?
I think we've discussed it.
We discussed it.
Settled on anyone in particular.
For Blue Morpho, I forgot who we said for Blue Morpho, but for the butterfly, we did Tiana Taylor for a butterfly, bro. She like the facial structure and like the body structure.
Yes, with the mass structure and that body. Well,
come on.
Funny enough, I think Yara was Yara. Yara Sedelza or whatever her name is. I think that was what ended up going. Was actually her.
Yo, I can see that.
Yara Shahidi. Okay, yeah.
I think Yara was Yara Shahidi. We were just like, that's funny.
We're manifesting here, folks, today because this is going to be real. And you want to know what we're manifesting? It's important for you to check out the website, midnightcomics.org. Not just that, you want to see what this power couple, the Joneses right here, is doing. The Jonesverse, baby. You got to get into this. All right? Yo, check them out on Instagram at Midnight X Comics, TikTok Midnight X Comics, and Facebook Midnight Comics. All right, please follow, support independent creation. Support these amazing comics. A dope, diverse universe, and guess what? They don't push nothing in your face, but just dope story, dope characters. I mean, it's just for me. I felt like I was reading like I was in New York. I was reading these books. So again, I come from a melting pot. You know what I'm saying? So it's like for me, the book felt so natural. It's like I felt like nothing was different or off. I was like, this feels like such a comfortable read for me because this is what I've been around all my life. This type of diversity. So thank you for making me feel comfortable reading a book. You know what I mean? It's like I'm not saying, oh, look at this, look at that. No, I was like, all right, this feels like where I grew up at. This is so fucking cool. So thank you for being mindful of that. I mean, I think your experience as an Army brat and her, also, just growing up where you grew up at, probably seeing, that diversification, in the point of the comics is great. So thank you for doing that, honestly.
Camera froze. Sorry.
No worries. Listen, so long as the audio didn't, but I saw you were there happy. That's all that matters. So, no. But I would say is thank you for doing what you guys do in regards to the diversification and the great storytelling, and and bringing this to the game, and and a big shout out to my homie Alim Leggett, an amazing creator that introduced us. So a big shout out to Alim for real. Shout out, check out his book Sweet Pea. Which is a wild book. Don't let that name fool you.
Yeah.
Read about it because you're like, yo, what's going on?
There's a reason for that name.
Yeah,
there's a reason.
Yeah, for real. Yeah. So big shout out to him, and also, but of course, please check out Midnight Comics. Important. So before we go today, power couple over here, my new Jay-Z's and Beyonce of indie comics right here. I'm gonna call you that because y'all about to dominate. People just need to know what's going on and just be aware. And again, just to have in the world of indie so much variety and choices. Thank you. I'm definitely a fan already because I can't wait to see what else y'all do. So talk to me about, two things. Are you guys doing any conventions for the rest of this year that we could see you at?
Not this year.
No, not the rest.
No? Anything planned already for 2024?
DreamCon is a must. DreamCon is a must. And the hope is for sure. Well, I can't say the hope is and then for sure. But the other one that I really think is a must have, we need to go back to Atlanta Comic Con this year because that's where we're based out of. So those are the two for sure.
Somebody will be at both of those.
It's just the logistics kind of are tough because we got kids. So younger kids. So
you talked about the year, brother, because if I could help in any way, let's make it happen. Because I like what you guys are doing and beautiful artwork. We definitely. I would love to have the rest of your team and creators on and keep spreading the goodness of the Midnight Comics brand and let people know the dopeness of what's coming out of the AT out there, right now. Baby, para que sepan, coño, let's go. All right, so last piece, what type of advice would you give to up-and-coming creators? I want to start with the lady of the house, Natosha. What would you tell somebody trying to step into the game today, into creating comic books?
Okay, I'm not going to steal yours, so you're welcome. I'm just going to say believe in yourself. Mm-hmm. Believe in your abilities, believe in your dreams and your talents. So if you know you can do it, then you'll probably get there.
And mine is just do it. Honestly, to elaborate just slightly on that is just you'll see things that are, I kind of had an idea. Well, it's not your idea. You know what I mean? Like you have something that was given to you. Just do it. So, yeah.
There we go, folks. You heard him. Just get it done. That's right, folks. Coño, do it, and just do it. I'm doing it. I decided one day to do it, and now I'm just doing it. And it's been like a whole bunch of years since 2006 that I've been doing this. I mean, podcasting since 2014. So, I'm here and I'm supporting indie and showing love. And, no one makes it overnight. It's always a huge journey. And that is why you always got to respect and be mindful of the creators' journeys because you never know what they've been through to get where they're at. And, thank you for being awesome like that, guys, especially being a wonderful example as a couple working together to create such a wonderful brand. I think that's a beautiful thing, that a lot of people would be very happy over. So you guys inspire the shit into me and give me hope. And maybe one day I'll find my chick that'll ride with me on that level. Wherever! So I'm for Midnight Comics, baby. Check out my midnightcomics.org again. Dope comics. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you, Lloyd. Thank you, Natosha. Thank you, my fellow Crusaders, for tuning in. Yeah, I mean the world to me. Hasta la próxima. Much love. Wherever!
Thank you for listening to the Comic Crusaders podcast. If you like the content, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Also, please visit comiccrusaders.shop and our extended podcast family over at Undercover. And also make sure to download the Comic Crusaders app on the Google Play Store today.